accompanied by Princess Tia tonight. Yeah, hello, she says. The Chihuahua's been out. They've been out there whistling. I'm hoping they'll be quiet now, shut the windows and everything. But you know what it's like as soon as they start alive. All hell lets loose on my street. So, yes, so as I was saying, without realising I hadn't even gone live, I wanted to welcome a lot of new members because we've had a lot of gifted memberships, haven't we? Honestly, you couldn't make it up. As soon as I start live, everything goes wrong. So it's absolutely pouring down with rain. It's thundering, lightning. It's come out of nowhere. I don't think it was forecast even. But it's come out of nowhere. So that's why the electricity went off about 3 times, one after the other. I can't guarantee it won't go off again. But so just so you know, if it, gosh, you might even be able to hear it. It's really raining heavy, really raining heavy. Oh God, how many times do I have to start this? So this girl, bless her soul, Amanda, 16 years old, disappeared. But nobody even knew she'd disappeared. She was never reported missing. She was 16 years old in Colorado in America. Let's have a look where Colorado is actually. Let me just find out a bit more closely where she was. Of course, I had everything set up and now it's all bloody, it's all gone. Right. Mesa County, Colorado. Now, I've never been to Colorado. I've heard of it. Ted Bundy, that might be him turning my electricity off, because Ted Bundy killed a lot of his victims here. Let's share this. And you know what? Ted Bundy was allowed to have his ashes scattered across the Colorado mountains. How was he allowed that? Because he left lots of his victims there. That's what he requested when he was electrocuted, because he got the death penalty and he was electrocuted. His last request was that his remains would be scattered across the Colorado mountains, and they granted that request. I think that's disgusting, because they think there are lots of other victims that he never, we don't know about. So probably they were all buried there, and he wanted that was his last bit of control, to have his ashes scattered in Colorado. So this is it, Grand Junction. This is where this girl has been found. So where are we near? We're near Utah, Salt Lake City. Yeah, well, I've not got good thoughts about Utah, to be honest. Oh, and this is Heather's favourite place, Las Vegas. I don't think I'd enjoy going there, Heather. I don't think it's for me. I might like to go to Yellowstone National Park or Mount Rushmore. But yeah, so this is where this poor girl lived, Amanda. And her surname is Overstreet. Amanda Overstreet, that's her name. And she lived here in Colorado. Hang on. In Grand Junction. Then, when did she disappear? Well, we don't really know when she disappeared, because she's never, ever been reported missing. This poor girl, nobody reported her missing. Can you imagine that? A 16-year-old girl never reported missing. So let's have a look at the paper. So where are we? We're in the Daily Mail. Never mind. Sometimes I do give good details of things. So the Colorado teen who's right. So what was found was her head and her hands in a freezer. When this freezer was being sold, because the house had been sold, and they were selling off all the bits and pieces to try and make what money they could from whatever was left in the home. And in one of the freezers, they found this poor girl's head and hands, Amanda Overstreet. And it turns out, so they've identified her by DNA. And after a month, it's taken a month to identify her. So on January the 12th this year, a family were clearing out the house, so that's longer than a month then that it's taken, in Grand Junction, that had previously belonged to this girl's family. So previously in this house, this girl lived. She lived in this house with her mum and her stepdad and her two stepbrothers. And nobody has reported her missing. So, 10 months later, Messer County Coroner announced that they have finally identified the body parts as belonging to Amanda Overstreet, who was last known to be alive in April 2005. So nearly 20 years, this girl has not been seen and nobody's reported her missing. That's so very sad. Messer County Sheriff's Office spokesman Wendy Likes told the DailyMail.com Amanda was the biological daughter of the widowed homeowner Leanne, 55, and Leanne's late husband Bradley was Amanda's stepfather. Wendy declined to comment whether the biological father had been identified or interviewed by the police. Now this gets even curiouser, this case, just when you think it can't, because this that's the house where the forensics are in there. Investigators in hazmat suits. This is Amanda's mother. She still lives in the area. God knows what she thinks of it all. Now, I can't help but think that she may not have known that Amanda was in that freezer, because would she have sold the house without getting rid of the freezer first? I mean, surely she wouldn't have been stupid enough to sell the house. I don't think I'll like Las Vegas, Heather. I don't think I will. And I have seen the thing about the Strictly guy, but I don't like going off track when I'm talking about cases like this. I don't think it's respectful. Sorry. So I'll talk about that maybe another time, but I don't like going off track when I'm talking about murder cases. So what do you think? Do you think the mother knew? I mean, would she have tried to sell the house? Well, she did sell the house. Would she have moved out and left that freezer in there with her daughter's body parts in there if she knew? Would you? I don't think she could have known, personally. I just don't think she could have known. Anyway, this is her mother, 55. 55, does it, not being funny, but this was her stepfather. So Leanne is now 55 and widowed because her partner, it's like something off a film, isn't it? Why is he so creepy, this guy? In his bloody dungarees, he looks like something out of the Waltons. That great big fish. I mean, oh, the poor fish. This is, he was only 61. You're having a laugh, aren't you? 61 when he died. So I'll tell you what, I don't think I'll bother trying to go to Colorado, because it doesn't seem to be, it seems to age you a little bit, doesn't it? I think I'm better off where I am. 61 years old, he looks about 80. And he had, he died of COVID, which, well, not of COVID, he died of complications from COVID. He died of a cardiac arrest after a bad case of COVID. That seems quite fitting, really, doesn't it? But it seems like a shame that it, well, I'm casting aspersions. We don't know that it's him who put her in that freezer. I'm just thinking that if the mother knew that her daughter was in that freezer, surely she wouldn't have sold the house and left her in the freezer knowing that she'd get found. She would have disposed. She could have got someone to come and take that freezer away, couldn't she, and get it dumped. It just seems, it reminds me of the grandpa off the Waltons with those dungarees on. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So this is the house. They'd recently changed hands, was being cleared out in an effort to get rid of junk. And in the freezer, in one of the freezers, was the head and hands of Amanda. So she was 16 when she was last seen in 2005. The police say no arrests have been made in the murder probe. Leanne is still a resident of Grand Junction, Colorado. That's the mother. And they don't know where the remainder of her body is. Now, it's possible that the remainder of her body may have been found at some point, but they've not, because the reason for cutting off the hands and the head, of course, would have been to prevent prevent identification, remove the fingerprints. So bear in mind, it was 20 odd years ago. Of course, now everything can be traced by DNA, but probably what DNA would have been, much more in its infancy then. And whoever did it thought if they kept the head, which has the dental records, and the hands, which have the fingerprints, they probably thought that she couldn't be identified. And he probably had a cardiac, if it was anything to do with the stepfather, he probably had a cardiac arrest because he's worrying DNA might catch up with him. So the remainder of her body has not been recovered at this time. The coroner's office said the manner of death is being investigated as homicide. The case remains an active investigation and no further details will be released. So he died in 2021, age 61. And the next day, his wife, Amanda's mother, Leanne, posted a fundraiser for his funeral and hospital bills on Facebook. And they had 2 children of their own, Elsie Bell and Anthony Emer. Bradley D. Emer came down with COVID last month and was admitted to the ICU on June the 27th. He passed away July the 7th. Our family's trying to raise money to pay for his burial and medical expenses. We had a flood in our home a couple of months ago and have been living in a hotel since May the 3rd. God, all the time that body was there. Where did she think her daughter was? See, the thing is, we don't know all the details because, a lot of people are straight away saying, oh, well, the mother must have known, the mother must have known. But you know what? Did she receive letters maybe supposedly from Amanda? Was Amanda a troubled teen who had run away before, and so somebody made it look as if she'd run away again? It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Anyway, our daughter has started her senior year in a couple of weeks, and her father's passing has just devastated her. They were best friends. Bradley had many friends and family who he touched during his life. Bradley was loved and respected by many. He lived his life to the fullest with no regrets. Bradley would give the shirt of his back And no one left our house without a meal and a good conversation. Sorry, I know it's not funny, it's just my sense of humour. Nobody left their house without a meal and a good conversation, but his stepdaughter bits of her were in the freezer. Bradley was and still is the love of my life, my best friend, the greatest father, a wonderful husband, the best man I will ever know. I just don't know what we are going to do without him. Bradley was the rock and heart and soul of our family. No man will ever live up to his memory because he was just a great man, loved by all who knew him. She added that she and her son Anthony were going to stay in the motorhome in the front yard until the repairs to their flooded house were made. Neighbours said they saw a young male living with Leanne and described them as hoarders. I don't think she knew about this freezer because surely she wouldn't allow workmen in there, etc. Anyway, I don't know. One local posting anonymously on a blog wrote, "Does anyone know anything about a daughter that lived at that house? We live around the corner and used to see her around the neighbourhood, but we haven't seen her in years." So, who is this? Leanne and Anthony. That can't be Leanne. Who's that? It must be their son Anthony. Am I imagining that? Has he got a vest t-shirt on, or is that sunburn? Can't work out. But who is this? Let's have a look. So this are the two biological children of Leanne and, gosh, what was his name? I've forgotten his name already. And the guy, the stepfather, these were their two children that they had between them. So the girl that's been identified, the 16-year-old girl, she was Leanne's child by a previous relationship. This is a neighbour talking. I think we see this video. So Truster said, that's the neighbour, said she became aware of what happened when people who intended to buy the freezer opened it up and found a human head. Oh my God. Imagine. Amanda Overstreet, bless her soul. So this is Leanne. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, the dog's going to pull the wiring out now. And there he is, the stepfather, Bradley. No longer with us. Shuffled off this mortal coil. Did he know about it, do you think? Everyone's more concerned with bloody Strictly. I will talk about it at the end, but I'm not talking about it yet. Shut up. So, yeah, what do you think? Crazy, isn't it? Just crazy. You know, these cases, honestly, every case, you know, there's always another one that's even more crazy. Now, I had some videos for us to look at, but of course, they all went down when the electricity went down, but I can get them back up again. Okay, I like to find some news videos, you know. Yeah, this is the policewoman talking.
I mean, she was a child. She was 16 years old. She's still a child.
It's not easy to digest.
I mean, she was a child. She was 16 years old. She's still a child.
It's not easy to digest.
We were all guessing who it was and we started thinking like, had to have been the little girl who was there because we've never saw them.
The Mesa County Sheriff's Office has been working with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation on the case of the remains found in a Grand Junction home 9 months ago. The Sheriff's Office says DNA from the remains belonged to an Amanda Overstreet.
The last record we have of her being seen is in 2005, and we do not have any records relating to her disappearance or that she was ever reported missing by anyone.
Her remains were found in a freezer after the new owners of the home were looking to clear out what was left on the property.
I just think it's so sad that a 16-year-old girl and nobody reported her missing. You know, and I was thinking about it and I was thinking, well, I think there's a 16-year-old girl living in my neighbour's house at round about that age. Now, would I notice? I mean, I'm sure other people would notice, having said that. I probably wouldn't notice it because I don't really see her much. I see her every now and again. I might just think, oh, she's gone to live somewhere else, or she's gone to live with a boyfriend, or, you know, I don't know. But of course, there are other people who know them better, and there's extended family that would report that girl missing if she went missing. But I just found it very sad that nobody reported her missing, even her own mother. You know, and what, you know, time will tell what the reason for that is. Maybe she received letters supposedly from her saying she was okay. You know, don't worry about me, don't try and find me. Maybe she'd run away before, you know, 16-year-olds do run away. There's all sorts of reasons why she might not have reported her missing, one of which might be that she knew that she was dead. But I just think if she would have known that she was dead and in that freezer, surely she wouldn't have left it there for people to find when she sold the house.
According to neighbors, there were clues of foul play.
I'd walk my dogs about once every other day or so, and even just walking by the house, you just smelled like a mildew, and it was just like utter disgusting. Actually, like would make you sick just walking by.
And they recall the last time they saw Amanda.
The last time we saw the little girl was actually when she was on her way to school. I don't know what school she was going to, but it's a fairly quiet neighborhood. We don't really talk to everyone here, but every so often when a neighbor passes another, they'll give like some updates about it.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago.
So it's, you know, I just couldn't believe it when I heard about it. I just could not believe that, you know, that nobody would report her missing. So look at this one. Oh, great, my computer's frozen now. Let's see. It's moving again. ABC, we looked at ABC. Oh, that's a spy. So it's even, it's one of those cases that's going across the world because they're talking about in Spain as well. Anyway, I'm going to be following this. No, you know, I want to know what happened to this poor girl. You know, I think what you said there, David, it's possible, isn't it? I suppose the rest of it could have been Ian, but do you know what? My theory, if you like, on it, or what straight away I thought is, it's got to be someone from the family, isn't it? She's in the bloody freezer, for God's sake. So it's someone from the family. It's not a stranger who's abducted her, murdered her, taken her back to the house and put bits of her in the freezer. To me, it's got, let's have a look. This is, there's not many pictures. Oh, look, there's Princess Tia there. Oh, bless. Yeah, poor girl. You know, there's not many available photos of her. More might come out as time goes on. But at the end of the day, she was alive and now she isn't. And somebody did that to her. She did, it wasn't self-deletion, was it? She didn't do it to herself. She didn't cut herself up and put bits of her in the freezer. So it seems likely, though of course it's not proven, but it seems likely that maybe her stepfather did have something to do with it, doesn't it? Well, he's dead now, so he couldn't object. When the mother said she wanted to sell, when the mother decided to sell the house, the stepfather wasn't there to do anything about it, was he? He couldn't object to it. And, I think probably likely, but as I say, I could be wrong. He's done it. He, for whatever reason, he's put her in the freezer. I don't think the mother knew about it, because if the mother knew about it, I don't think she would have sold it, or without getting rid of it first. Sold the house without getting rid of unless she forgot after 20 years, but she's only 55. She's not exactly decrepit. Yeah. So did he do it? And all that time were they living in that house, not knowing that that they'd heard? Oh, just incredible. You give up on people sometimes. You give up on people sometimes, and the horrible things that people can do. I mean, maybe she was a real rebellious teenager, but nobody deserves that, do they? Certainly not a young girl of 16. Definitely doesn't deserve that. So, hey, I just can't believe that the mother could have known. Not because I think that mothers can't do things like that. I know that mothers can do things like that, but because I don't think she would have sold the house with the freezer still in there, surely. I wonder what she's saying. Oh gosh, that'll be interesting. See her investigation videos, won't it? Gosh. Let's see if I don't think there's any more information than that at the moment. Those remains were found, and now they've been identified as hers. So now the inquiry starts, doesn't it? The investigation starts. It's obviously a murder investigation. It probably already was, but now they know whose murder they're investigating. Let's just read this. This looks interesting. So the head and hands of a 16-year-old missing since 2005 were recently found in a freezer. The Messer County Sheriff's Office said they responded 9 months ago on January the 12th to a call about a suspicious incident in the 2900 block of Pinion Avenue in Grand Junction. What? On arrival. Oh, I hate it when they do this. Oh, what? Oh. On arrival, deputies found the head and hands of a human had been discovered in a freezer by someone who arrived to claim the free appliance offered by the new owner of the recently sold home. So the mother offered it to them. So, do you know what? I can't imagine what that freezer must be like. But once, a person I was friendly with, I can't call her a friend because in the end, turned out she wasn't any sort of a friend. But she was a hoarder. And, my son likes his food. And she said to me, she had freezers oh my God, I could have found a bloody body in there, really. It wouldn't have surprised me. She said to me, oh, there's a freezer. She was away. I think I was going into her house and feeding the dogs or something. There was a reason I was going into her house while she was away. And her house, oh my God, it's like a I can't even describe what it's like because you won't believe me. Anyway, she said, oh, there's a freezer in the bathroom and it's got loads of food in it and I'll probably never use it. So anything you want to take away. Oh, my God. So I thought, oh, that's nice of her, you know, because Jack, my son, you know, he is difficult to feed, or he was. He doesn't eat as much now as he used to. But, you know, when he was in those growing phases. And I went, all right, that's nice. Thank you. Oh, my God, this freezer. It was just disgusting. It obviously froze again, unfroze. There was stuff in there that had been in there. It talk about out of date. It was about 10 years out of date. What I realised about this, like what she was doing, is she's sort of trying to get me to clean the freezer out. That's because I'm not a clean freak by any means, but I do like something like that. I want to clean it, you know, because just the thought of it. I mean, once I went into her house and there was a piece of pork in the microwave full of maggots. And that's when you know what a dead body must smell like. So this freezer was probably a bit like them going into that freezer, except, well, there might have been a head in the bottom of it. I didn't clear it out. So I don't know. But just thinking about how it smelled, how revolting it was, and that didn't even have a body in it, at least not as far as I know. So God knows how this freezer was. So I don't think it can be the mother has anything to do with it, because surely she would not have offered it to them. Anyway, so officers confirmed that why is this not what's it in? Officials added she was the biological daughter of the previous owner of the home, and the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain under investigation, as well as ongoing forensic testing of evidence. So that whole house will be being, you know, but those poor people who bought that house, they're probably not even allowed to live in it now, because not that they might even want to, because it'll be being forensically tested. And there is no record that Amanda Overstreet was ever reported missing, which to me is just so sad, you know, for that poor woman. Oh, look at you, baby. Look at you. Ah, dogs always make you smile, though, don't they? Oh, it's just horrible to think about, isn't it? Horrible to think about. Anyway, I thought I'd tell you about it because you know what? It is certainly an unusual case. Now, I don't know if Heather's still here, but she seemed to be really wanting to talk about... I'm going to take the picture of this girl off, bless her. So I hope they find out what happened to Amanda. Now, if it was the stepfather, of course, is escaped justice, really. Well, in this world, because he's deceased. But having said that, he won't have escaped it in the next world, will he? So, and if he had a cardiac arrest, he won't have had time to confess, you know, cleanse his soul or whatever maybe you can do. He won't have had time to do that. So he's probably roasting in hell, if he did it, of course. Now, I know I shouldn't presume, but you just think, she's in the freezer in the house. It's got to be someone from that house. As I say, nobody's kidnapped her, abducted her, murdered her, and then broke into the house to put her in the... Oh, my God, that fridge, that poor girl. That poor girl, bless her. So let's hope we find out what happened to her. Poor Amanda. I'm going to light a little candle for Amanda, actually, because I just cannot believe this girl, 16-year-old girl, nobody reported her missing. You know, that's disgusting. Disgusting. Nobody looked for her. Nobody looked for her, and she was in the fucking freezer all the time in her own house. So, you know, That's for Amanda. So God rest Amanda. I hope you're at peace. And she won't be at peace. I do think she won't be at peace until it comes out what happened to her, until her proper story is told. So anyway, thank you so much for being members. Thank you for those who were gifted memberships. Thank you to whoever gifted them. And thank you to everybody. Don't forget to like, please. Muy importante, very important. Leave your fingerprint on the like button. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta mañana. Yes, of course. My channel is priority, of course it is, but I'm going to have to create some drama. I try to stay, I mean, all the drama comes out, the true crime stories that I tell and that. I try and stay out of drama these days. I've had enough drama in my life to last a lifetime. And sometimes think, oh, you know, my life's quite boring now, really, in a good way, you know, like, because, yeah, I really have had all that drama up to here, you know. So now I just talk about other people's drama. It's not so traumatic. Okay, I'll see you soon. Until then, may your God go with you. Thank you all so much.